Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to another YouTube video. If this is your first time to the Ruslan G channel, welcome. And if you clicked on this video because of the title, I'm so glad that you're excited to get a high interest rate on your emergency savings, because you probably already know what an emergency savings is and how important it is. And if you haven't seen my video on why it's important or how it's important, go check it out. I'm gonna link it on one of these sides up here. And if you have seen it, this is the next video to watch in the emergency savings series, because in this episode, I'm gonna tell you exactly what the top places to put your emergency savings are that are not a bank account. Because a lot of people say, well, put it in a bank account because you're gonna get some interest rate. But right now, the interest rates are below 1%. In most cases, they're somewhere between 0.01% and 0.1%, which is terrible, 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 especially if you have a decent chunk of money just laying around and you put it in that account. It's not actually growing because of inflation. It's actually shrinking between 2 and 3% per year. Now, the money actually isn't shrinking, but the value that the money has is going down, and you don't want to have that happen into your money. So in this video, we're going to talk about the places where you can stick your money, especially your emergency savings. And what I've done to simplify this process for you watching is I've actually done all of this, and a lot of my money is in these platforms. And these are not things like silver, gold, or real estate or any of those things, because I want them to be very liquid, because that's what emergency savings is. It needs to be liquid, needs to be available as soon as something happens. And it also needs to be lower risk. So I put them in order from low risk, low reward, to high risk and high reward. So that's the order that I've put them in for you, so that way you can easily digest this information. And without further ado, let's dive into the top places to put your emergency savings money. Welcome back, long time no see. So the first place where I think you should stick your money is a high yielding savings account. Now, there's not a lot of places that do this, but there are a few, and I'm just gonna name them off the top of my head. So Wealthfront is a good option, Ally Bank, and last but not least is a new platform called Yata Savings. And if you'd like me to do a whole video on these platforms, I'm more than happy to do it, especially the last one, Yata Savings. I think there is a lot of potential with this one in the years to come. And let me know down in the comment section below if you'd like me to do a review video on that one specifically. And the next option for your money is something called high dividend ETFs, or exchange traded funds. And if you don't know what these are, they're pretty much like mutual funds, where it's a bunch of stocks piled into one portfolio that is being managed by a brokerage. And what's important to look for when picking an ETF is it needs to have a consistent payout, something that's been paying out for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Vanguard has some really good ones that you should check out. VOO, VWO, VTI are all great options. And also my personal favorites are SPHD and DHS. Both of those I hold a decent chunk in my portfolio and my emergency savings as well. And the beautiful thing about those two options is they actually pay above 4%. Obviously with the first option, like a savings account, you're only gonna get 1, maybe 2% at best. But with these options, you're looking at anywhere between 3 to 5, and in some cases 6%. It's hard to get 6 without losing value. So you'll get the dividend, but you're gonna lose some value. But 3, 4, maybe 5% is kind of what I'd aim for a good solid ETF. And again, you wanna make sure that it pays out consistently every single quarter, sometimes every single month, or at least every single year. Another good option is something called REITs. And you can find these on Robinhood, Webull, Stash. All these platforms are gonna have some sort of REIT options. And what these are real estate investment trusts. And the beautiful thing about these is they are government regulated to have to pay out 90% of their income, after-tax income of course, but nonetheless, they have to pay out 90% of their after-tax income to their shareholders. So depending on how much they make per month or per year, they have to pay that out as a dividend to their shareholders. So if you hold a REIT, you actually get 90% of the income that they make just being an investor. So REITs are really good, especially if the real estate market is doing really, really well. And some good options I have picked out for you are ticker symbol O, STAG, just like it sounds, STAG, and Toll Brothers, which is TOL. So the next one that I have on the list is just picking stocks that also have a dividend payout ratio of something between 3, 4, 5% per year. And of course, there are companies that pay out a lot more. I've seen companies pay out 7, 10, 14, 20% per year. But the problem is a lot of these companies end up failing because they have increased that dividend up so high that they aren't able to pay it over a long period of time. And then they have to go bankrupt and all their shareholders lose a lot of money. So obviously I wouldn't want that for you. So I would pick really good companies with good business models that can pay their dividend and have been for years and years and years. And a couple good options that I picked for you guys are Verizon, which is one of my personal favorites, and AT&T. So Verizon's ticker symbol is VZ and AT&T's is just T. Last but not least, this option is really, really high risk, but there is also a high reward behind it if it does pay out. And this one also requires some work, so it's not super easy where you can just open up an account, open an app, deposit some money, and then on your merry way you go and you're an investor and your money is working for you versus you working for your money. No, this one is a little bit more risky, and that is to lend money to a business, to a startup, to a person that's starting a business that has a good business model, and all they need is startup capital. And obviously, most of these opportunities, they have to come to you. You can always reach out to your friends and family and see if someone has a business that they would be willing to have you invest in, but these are more rare occasions, and usually the investors reach out to their friends and family versus people reaching out to them. But in this scenario, you can actually make a lot of money, because not only can you typically strike a deal where they pay back the initial amount plus some in a shorter term than a traditional loan, but with this, you might get some equity. And this is obviously something that you have to do through negotiations, and this is more like a Shark Tank approach. But in a lot of cases, this has been shown to pay out the most. And again, it's not as liquid, so this is why I put it at the end. But if you can come up with a structured repayment plan with the person that is taking your money, like maybe they pay you, 10% of the total amount per month, and you don't really need this money for a long time, or at least for a few months. This is a great option, especially if they have credit history, they have a good business model, they have a high paying job in case things don't work out, they have savings or assets that they could sell in case things don't work out and they can at least pay you back, and they don't have a criminal background or history of any illegal activity. Those are all good signs of someone that's gonna pay you back over time. And like I said, always get it in writing. That's super important. I cannot advise this enough. Get that contract in writing if you are gonna invest in someone else's business. And other than that, that's it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. And in the next episode on emergency savings, we're gonna be talking about how you can start an emergency savings with zero extra income, even if you're living paycheck to paycheck. This is gonna be a great episode. So I hope you guys stay tuned for this one. Go subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And without further ado, I'm wishing you all the health, wealth, and happiness. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace out.